Good evening, and welcome to Dead Air Live. Tonight's show, the 25th Anniversary Retrospective, is our look back not only at last year, 1999, which really one of our first shows of the year is frequently the retrospective show of the year before, but this year, since we're celebrating our 25th year of producing Dead Air Live shows for Somerville, we're also going to be showing you not only excerpts from last year, but to put a historical framework on the shows last year. We're also going to be showing you some shows of some history. For instance, we're going to show you David Mish from 1975 later in the show. We're going to show you Tracy Chapman from 1986. There's a number of things that have happened on Dead Air Live shows that we'll be highlighting in the course of tonight's show. The first thing that I wanted to talk about, and in terms of last year's shows, is we did 2 shows dealing with food in some way. And the first tape I want to show you shows an excerpt from one of those shows, as well as a number of shows from the past dealing with the issue of food. So if we just go right to that, then we'll feel more satisfied because we'll know all about food. We'll be right back.
We have cooking like you've never seen before. With me now is Eska Roll, and she is somebody whose column you may have seen in the paper, Ask Eska. And Eska has put out a new cookbook called Puttin' on the Ritz. Tonight she's going to give you a quickie recipe because we don't have much time, and you too can learn how to make a fine dinner from Eska Roll.
Laura,
Welcome.
not only a fine dinner, we're talking about hors d'oeuvres, an entree, and a dessert in under 5 minutes.
Unbelievable.
Can I use your help? Are you free for a minute?
I'm free. I'm all yours for the next 5.
I'm glad you mentioned that this is a series called Puttin' on the Ritz because, of course, our main ingredient is the Ritz cracker. Why don't we begin with the hors d'oeuvre, Laura?
That's a wonderful place to begin, Eska.
Okay. Let's just take out a few little Ritz crackers, place them very neatly on a cutting board.
How many do you have to do for this dish?
Well, I'd say 4 per person. Maybe
That
our
sounds
technical
very-
crew could join us a little later after the show and taste our delicious little hors d'oeuvres. Okay, so quickly, we've got our Ritz crackers, and next we're going to need just a little bit of cucumber. Oh, yeah, well, let's just chop them. We need 4 little slices. Perfect. Aren't they gorgeous?
They are. They're very round.
Oh, they are.
They fit
Now-
perfectly.
Now, the point is that what we're building up to is the title of this recipe.
What's that, Eska?
Froggy on a lily pad. Now, this is the beginning of a lily pad. Now, watch.
What's that, Eska?
This is Cheese Whiz, to be purchased in any... Oh, there we go. It's
That
coming.
looks so nutritious.
Oh, yes. What we're talking about tonight is protein complements.
Would you
There
like
we
a
go.
hand?
Thank you.
Is that the Froggy, the Cheese Whiz?
No, no, no. The Froggy's coming up next. Wait a minute.
What's this part, Eska?
This is just the protein upon which the Froggy will rest. Now, notice the next ingredient is the olive,
The humble olive.
which looks quite a bit like
Froggy?
Froggy. Now, just a minute. Let me get the Froggy sitting in the protein on the lily pad. Can our camera pick that up?
This is stunning. This is really a visual delight and probably a feast as well for the mouth as well as the eyes.
Let's move quickly along to the entree.
You hardly know where to start, but let's start with one that's becoming more and more popular here. On the West Coast, everyone knows about this. My 93-year-old grandmother knows about this. Of course, she's pretty hip. She would probably know about it anyway. This lovely item is a jicama. I think we have the spelling of it somewhere because it's... Do we? No. Weighs a ton. They come in all different sizes. It has skin like a potato. And what you do with it is you cut it, looks like this, and you peel it. The peel's quite thick. And then you get a product that looks kind of like this. And it's really good raw. It's crispy and slightly sweet, almost like an apple. It's really good in salads. I use it when I come home and I'm making dinner and I just want to eat something right away. I just eat this while I'm making dinner. It's also really good in stir fries. It tastes a lot like water chestnut. You just cut it into small pieces and throw it in a stir fry. The difference is that water chestnuts are really starchy and therefore a little more fattening. So this is a good alternative. It tastes like it's starchy, but it's really not.
Eating together can be fun, an event the entire family enjoys and looks forward to. Throughout history, the sharing of food with others has been a token of friendship and goodwill. Friends and relatives gather around the table on holidays and days of celebration. Friends sit together at the school cafeteria table, or families enjoy an evening out at a restaurant, or a meal at home as this family is doing. You can tell by the look on this father's face that he's enjoying this meal. As a matter of fact, he's pretty proud right at the moment because his daughter Jane and his son Jimmy helped make this dinner more fun than almost any he can remember. Mother has a smile on her face, too, because she knows why Jane and Jimmy remembered their table manners so well tonight. It was to be a surprise for Daddy.
If you have access to a yard, get your soil tested, and if it tests fine, you can plant in your yard. If you don't have a yard, another option is community gardens, and I am a coordinator for one of the community gardens here in Somerville. We have 8 altogether, and people sign up, they call City Hall, and they say that they have an interest, and we try and match people to the garden that's closest to their home. You get just a 10 by 10 foot plot, and it may sound small, but you can actually produce a great deal of food in one plot. It actually can support just the vegetables for a family for the summer, a family of 4 people, if you are very industrious in your gardening. So I think, those are 3 easy ways for most people in the city to get involved with, gardening and creating their own food in a healthy way.
You invest in our farm. It's called community-supported agriculture. And there's several other farms around that have the same program. 2 farmers come all the way down from Vermont with their produce. And they come every week, and you pay up front, which is very good for the farmer, supports local agriculture because you're paying money to the farmer when he most needs it, to buy his seeds, his supplements, his everything. And then you get, usually there's a delivery site where you go to, and you get essentially a bag of produce every week for 20 weeks, going from June all the way to the end of October. A lot of people think that farming ends in September, but that's not true. And last year our farm was still purveying vegetables into November because it was kind of a mild fall. Mm-hmm. So that's an excellent way to direct farmer-consumer model.
Mm-hmm. The market basket was the lowest price. Statistically, it's not a really strong conclusion, but just for what our numbers showed, the market basket was the lowest. They're tied with the star markets for staple foods, but decidedly were cheaper across the board for meats and vegetables. But then which one wins? It's a complicated question. Other factors, of course, come into play. We've only been talking about prices, right? And we also have to consider location is key. Mm-hmm. And then there's also ambiance. And then I've also heard issues about regarding market basket, about spoilage, quick spoilage and freshness issues. And then there's also some people have a heavy consideration towards moralistic issues. Do they want to support organic? Do they principally believe in that? And smaller farmers, and do they have a problem supporting large impersonal stores?
We're going to get a lot more into some of those discussions.
The answer is very hard to answer. The question's very hard to answer, and that's a big conclusion we got from this whole study, is that it's very complicated. We argued about a lot of the facts,
We
You know,
did.
yes, yeah. And yeah, we did, so. And then the other part that determines what store is best comes down to the individual, what their diet is. You know, are they a meat eater, a vegetarian, or staples? If they're a staple eater, then it doesn't matter as much. If they're a meat eater, then you should really, there's a lot of value to investigating. There also, you also have, this is just a study where we pick 40 goods and we set our weightings to them. And also, an individual needs to consider their own unique needs, and that could really change the results of the study.
Okay.
And the last thing I'd like to add is that I think consumers should need to recognize that things change. Not just, okay, this store's been great, I've been there for 10 years, but that organic food's getting cheaper, and there are new stores popping up, organic food stores all around. Fastest growing component of grocery expansion has been organic food
And
over the
more we
last 9
shop
years.
there,
Yeah, yeah.
the lower the prices will
Right,
become.
and the economies of scale are driving those prices down, so the margin is closing. And if you support those things, you can help expedite that process. You know, so not only watch for change, but participate in it if it's important to you.
Well, thank you very much.
No problem.
Appreciate it.
Sure.
So we'll go to a tape and then we'll come back with another guest.
I am wild about all kinds of berries, black and blue and raz and straw and red. But most of all, I like to guzzle cherries. Me too. And I eat them every night in bed. I like to eat, I like to eat, I like to eat, I like to eat. And no matter what it is, I like to eat. I can sing the praises of pistachios, and I eat them till I almost bust. And I also like pecans and cashews. Yes, indeedy, I sure love my nuts.
I also wanted to know what products are important to buy organically and what products are less important, because if you only have X amount of money for your bill, your food bill, it would be great to know if these particular veggies and fruits are really high in pesticides or on the lower side. I was trying to find some information about why these products are more susceptible. But for example, I'm not sure if the website is accessible, if anyone out there in the studio can find the website. It's a bit lower down on the list. But basically, this website is where I got the following information about the 10 most contaminated fruits and vegetables, and I'll just list them. I think we have a CG online right now. But anyway, we have the 10 most contaminated fruits and vegetables are strawberries, bell peppers, spinach, cherries, peaches, cantaloupe, celery, apples, apricots, green beans, grapes, and cucumbers. Now, why these are the most contaminated I won't get into, but you can find this stuff on the website, which I find kind of interesting. They also give you examples of what nutritional parallel options there are to each of these fruits and veggies. And then they give you a list of the 10 least contaminated, which I found very interesting. These are the 10 least contaminated fruits and vegetables: avocados, corn, onions, sweet potatoes, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, grapes, U.S., the other grapes I think were Chile, bananas, plums, green onions, watermelon, and broccoli. So they also, in that same website, have they tell you what the methodology in ranking the produce for pesticide risk. So there's a lot of information out there. So if you want to, help educate your decision in terms of what you buy where, that's an important factor.
All right, so over the years, that's the Somerville Producers Group looking at food in various ways. The last part, of course, being from our show, Lost in the Supermarket, where, well, you just saw that. I don't need to explain exactly what that was. The Somerville Producers Group is also, has a long-running history of covering local politics. And I joined the Somerville Producers Group in 1981, and there have been 25 different local politics shows since then, ranging from Barbara Anderson debating in a debate on Proposition 2.5 when it was being voted on. We've had our skeleton, Bobby Watson, hosting election night coverage that really never had any election coverage. But, like I say, there have been 25 different shows just strictly dealing with mayoral races, aldermanic races, the school committee, just very local politics. And last year alone, we had 4 shows that we broadcast dealing with the elections in Somerville. And what I wanted to do was to take, rather than spend hours doing an edit showing Sal Albano and Milk, all these different politicians that have come through and been on our show, I just took one moment from one of the shows last year and elected to show you the tape that we had of our election night coverage, which with Helen Corrigan and Jack Hamilton, and the mayor showed up on the night of the election, and let's see what the mayor had to say to the city of Somerville the night that she was elected.
That works harmoniously with the mayor is a winning board. It's not because they're, I think the relationship we have is a good one. They knock me and so on and so forth. It's not all a love relationship. They're not shy when something comes up. My good friend Tom Taylor has a little whack at me every now and then, but that's the way it should be.
But I bet you get a whack back, Dorothy.
Oh, of course. But that's the way it should be. And but it's a good working relationship. Yes. There is it's a good give and take, and I think that's the way it should be.
Dorothy, if I'm understanding the signals I'm getting correctly, we're starting to run out of time. Is there something you especially wanted to say?
I'm very pleased to see the turnout today. I just want to be sure that all of our new voters get themselves registered or become citizens and get out actively and be very much a part of the community. Because the more people we have participating in the process, the better we as a city shall be. And I would like to encourage much more participation in the electoral
Especially
process.
With next year coming up.
Absolutely.
When we have a presidential primary in March and a presidential race next November.
Right. So I think we should, as a community, put an all-out effort to get people registered to vote and get the new immigrants that are eligible to be citizens to get them into the process so that we can get much more people involved. The more
and Dorothy and I.
So that was when Mayor Kelly Gay came and right here sat on our set and shared her vision of her reaction to the election this fall. Now, as I said, over the years, the Somerville Producers Group has done any number of political shows, and what the next tape I want to show, which is less about the history of politics as presented by the Somerville Producers Group, as it is about just the history of the Somerville Producers Group, and as told by various members and how it affects their time and their commitment to producing live television every other week in Somerville. So it's got two things, a couple things that are very political. The a very early tape that the producers group did where they took a half-inch black and white Porta-Pack to a rent control board meeting, and the rent control board refused to meet because there was a videotape in the room. It has an excerpt from the 1984 readings from the Pirro trial in it, but it's also, a lot of it is just producers group people talking about being in the producers group. And it finishes off with a excerpt from last year's show on 1989, was 10 years ago, a show about the producers group 10 years ago last year. So if we, here's an overview of the Somerville producers group over the years.
In the old days, we used to do a show every week, whether we had one or not. I mean, it was dead air live, and it was, dead air, and we turned on the cameras and did a show. It was a funny time. It was a funny time. The show started out as a radio show, but on TV. It was Dave, and the three people who started out, David and Barry and Charlie Kelly. And Dave Bigley used to sit in the studio and play records, and that was it. And he would talk about the records while he played them and stuff. And then that gradually evolved into a talk show where he was the host and he had guests come on and talk about other things.
Hi. My name is Dave Bigley. I'm here at, well, never mind. Guess where I am.
Different people have had more energy than others, and, some people be real enthusiastic for a while and do things, and then, produce 4 shows in 3 months and get totally burnt out, and then somebody else would pick up the ball and it kept evolving that way.
My home life situation takes up a lot of time. I mean, everything takes a lot of time, and sometimes SPG is one of those things that gets sacrificed. I shave away at my activities there to make sure that I hold things together in my job and I don't get fired and I get my bills passed and stuff like that.
Yeah. Have you been surprised?
Yeah, I've been surprised. I've been surprised by lots of things, by the amount of energy that people can put out when there's a show to really get done. When I did my show, I thought it was never going to happen because there was too much work. I was brand new at doing this. I thought, I don't know whether you remember, but about a week before the show, I was ready to cancel it.
The hardest thing? Just that it's every week and it's all volunteer.
It was a lot. It was a big commitment. And I don't know. I think you really need to sort of do it for a while and make it, get into it and really make it a part of your life, and then it doesn't seem like it's that big a deal. I mean, it is a big commitment, but it feels less of a commitment as time goes on.
Okay, what happened on audio?
Oh, this was so long ago.
Well, I think the structure of it is good, that we have the meetings, we take the time, and even though sometimes it seems like a real long haul to go back after the show and watch the show and talk about it, it does seem to really serve a purpose.
Ideas are shaped and reshaped. I mean, they're transformed through the group's interaction. A lot of times what you have is you have a hierarchical structure where the television producer has a certain idea and the director, and everybody has their place, and no one really wants to say what they really feel. The camera people don't really have a say, whereas here, everybody has a say, and it's very interesting to see how many different forms that can take.
When we took a Porta-Pack, portable equipment, to a rent control board meeting, there was outrage, there was uproar, because this was the kind of access that people were sort of afraid of in a way.
We can take a Board of Aldermen meeting, we can take this meeting.
Not take this meeting, not without the board's permission.
That's not true.
It is true.
You got an ordinance?
Have you got a law that says that it can be taped?
This is a public meeting.
Have you got a law, John? Have you got a law that says it can be taped?
If it's a public meeting, don't touch it.
Then don't show it. Then don't use it. Don't use it, and I won't touch it.
Don't touch anybody. Don't touch anybody. If you want to call the police, go ahead.
No, next week. Next week. No.
Next week means like in a week?
1 week from now is our show during Community TV Week. What are we going to do?
Community! Community! Hey, community! Second word. Second word.
Second word. TV.
TV.
Ah, that's community TV. Yeah.
Third word.
Third word. Dying.
Hot.
Hot. Oh.
Desert. Swelter.
Oh.
Sweat.
Thirst.
Sweat.
Exhausted.
Lawrence of Arabia.
Liquid refreshment.
Week.
Week.
Oh.
Week. Community TV
Week.
Tomorrow night at 6:30, the Cable Access Channel will make these studios available to a local producer. He will present a 90-minute program of readings from the transcript of the federal extortion trial of State Representative Vincent Pirro.
So here's the deal. He's got to, it'll be a total of 25
grand.
That's right. It'll be 5 will come up front.
All right.
It'll be like a retainer, okay?
Give me a week to get 5.
Yeah, fine. That's all right. A week's fine. That'll get the thing in action.
All right.
You don't have to do another thing until the governor signs it, okay?
I'm also a photographer, and I do some writing. And I used to be in theater. And long ago, I realized that the most fun that I've ever had is when people all gather together and they have to make something happen, and it has to have a deadline and has to go on.
A good thing about being a member of the producers group is that you get to actively participate in the medium of television, which so few of us are able to do. And granted, you know, public access TV doesn't have the same viewership as the network stations. I don't mean to shock you, Larry, but that you can come and learn how to make TV and learn how to be on TV and learn how to communicate on TV. The first time I had a camera on me live was in the producers group, and there was just an enormous amount of anxiety and nervous perspiration, and tonight it doesn't feel like that at all, you know, and that's because of doing this a number of times, I think, you know.
We're always looking for new members in the Somerville Producers Group.
And if you know nothing about video,
It doesn't matter.
you just have to...
You just have to be willing to spend every Tuesday night of the year working with the Somerville Producers Group, doing a live show every other week, and on the alternate weeks we meet to plan the next show that we'll be doing. Like tonight we're here live, tonight being the 23rd of February, but next week, which will be March 2nd, we'll be meeting elsewhere and talking about the next show and planning it out.
And it really is run as a very successful collaborative of producers, so that one week you might be doing camera, another week you might be doing audio, another week you might be hosting a show. You're learning all sorts of roles.
to produce.
And everybody, ideally, we have between, you know, enough people that everybody like produces 2 shows a year about whatever they feel like. 89, I remember I did a show on fencing. We had people in the studio fencing.
Right. I think if you watch any one of the producers, the producer group shows, for now I sound like I've been paid by the producers group, but I really feel this. You know, you watch a 1-hour show on any particular subject, and you'll know more than you did when you started, and that's, you know, that's a privilege, you know.
As it should be.
Yeah, yeah.
Welcome back. We're live in the studio again on January 11th, the year 2000. This is the 25th Anniversary Retrospective Dead Air Live show. My name's Larry Yeager, and what we're watching is a series of edits that combine shows from last year with archival Dead Air Lives from years past. Actually, that one showed a number of things about producers group members talking about being in the group. And over the years, a number of Somerville Producers Group people have gone on to better things, as it were, you know, film school or lawyers or whatever. But while they were here, they got this really good background in producing community video. Over the years, we've had a very strong commitment to showing to the talk show format. You don't always see it every week, but it is there. The next excerpt we're going to show is an example of a more pure talk show format that we did last year in a show about SUVs. And the show was called The Greening of SUVs, and it is the next tape, so let's watch it.
Well, that was our unofficial little poll of people out there and their SUVs, and most people, you know, when put on the spot, said that they care about fuel efficiency and it would matter to them. Most of them did not know that they were, you know, more polluting. And there was that one guy who seemed to know and didn't really care. So he's out of the survey. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I think that in general, and it seems like car manufacturers are more guilty of this than some big manufacturers, but they, you know, take consumers for, they don't give consumers enough credit, you know, for being smart or being aware or wanting the right thing, and, you know.
Well, and at this point, I mean, several of the people raised the idea that if it costs the same and had the same features, that they would like to have that choice. Now, what we talk about in our report with the UCS exemplar has the same features. It's, you know, the same in terms of safety. Putting those improvements in that vehicle might cost a little bit more at the initial purchase moment, but what people aren't talking about is the fact that the manufacturers are making $10,000 to $15,000 in profit on each of these vehicles. So we think there's some wiggle room in that profit margin to be able to pay for some of these technological improvements. So I would love to see a manufacturer put these technological improvements into their vehicles and still offer it at the same essential price with the same features. I think it's very possible.
So, who are the other ones?
All right, those of you with very good audio perception would recognize that that was Laurel Greenberg hosting the show, who was on WBUR this afternoon because her film, 94 Years and One Nursing Home Later, is going to be premiering Thursday at the Museum of Fine Arts, and I might encourage everybody to try and go see that. It's at 6:30 in the Remus Auditorium, and this is the little postcard for it. It's also going to be in the Boston Film and Video Festival this year, and I mentioned that. I mentioned just a minute ago that producers group members have gone on to better things, and obviously Laurel is in the process of doing that. So the next tape we're going to see is also a product of Laurel Greenberg's imagination, and it's a compilation of Barry Mackerel show excerpts. And we've been doing Barry Mackerel shows now since, 1993. So there have been 10 Barry Mackerel shows, and I went through and picked the intros of them over the time, and this is that.
It's the Barry Mackerel Show with your host, Barry Mackerel, and co-host Paul Leonard.
Hello, welcome to the Barry Mackerel Show. I'm your host, Barry Mackerel, and this is my cohort, Paul Leonard.
All right,
We're appearing live tonight from Somerville. This is our first show, but we've been rehearsing for, it seems like, weeks on end, right, Paulie?
Yeah, it seems eternity.
Eternity, that's a good way to describe it. I think we're all set, though. I think we've got everything down, and the show's going to go off like clockwork.
I could have used about another 100 years.
Another 100 years of practice, and anyways, I guess I completely forget what we're supposed to do next. Paul, what's going on?
Oh, hi, Barry.
What's going on here? Who are these people?
These people?
Yeah.
Well, these are our guests.
What are you guys doing in my bedroom?
Barry, wake up. This is the show.
The show?
Yeah, your show, remember?
What are you talking about? I don't remember rehearsing anything. I don't remember writing anything.
No, Dead Air Live Day. It's our show. We do it every week. You're the host.
Oh, right.
I'm the co-host.
Right, Dead Air Live.
Yeah.
Right. We have a very exciting show tonight for the people in Somerville. As everyone here knows, this is a live taping of the program, and we're doing something a little new tonight in order to boost the ratings. We're engaging in some interactive television. Paul, do you want to explain what that means?
We're leading Somerville onto the information superhighway tonight with some interactive TV techniques. I think everyone's going to be amazed and shocked, hopefully a little bit disturbed by what they see.
And
but you know, I think part of our obligation is the avant-garde of Somerville TV.
Right. You know, Paul, I'm frequently asked by my friends, people who see the show, Barry, why do you have a show? And you know, Paul, it's about the little things. It really is that we try to accomplish here. You know, we're trying to build a community, something. We're trying to give something to Somerville and create a family here with the Barry Mackerel Show. It's so important to us what we get back from the audience and what we're able to give to them. But, you know, it's live television and these things happen. But you know, as part of being a local TV show and trying to give our audience some of the flavor of Somerville, we wanted to start the show off by mentioning that today, August 29th, is the centennial since the great Somerville flood of 1895.
Yeah. I've heard of it.
You know, part of the reason that we hired a consulting firm to boost the ratings, you know, the Barry Mackerel Show's been on the air about 2-3 years now, and it's been very successful, as you can all attest. Paul and I, we kind of do this on the side. You know, it's been a lot of laughs. We both happen to have very, very successful careers, you know, in our own right. Aside from this.
Barry? Excuse me?
Yes, sister.
It is okay to exaggerate. It is not okay to lie because it is a what?
Sin.
Right.
Okay, all right. So Paul and I, we have other jobs. That's right.
Okay, it appears they've patched us back in.
Okay.
So we can pretend to be here in Atlanta for a little while longer, it looks like.
So Paul, it's been quite an exciting week here. Let's see. Last night we had Carl Lewis winning his, I think, 19th or 20th gold medal. Looks like there's some work going on here in the stadium.
Yeah, I was.
Looks like they're repairing some of the seats here. It's unfortunately NBC or CBS or whoever it is. They haven't been very generous in terms of sharing remote locations.
Yeah, I hope they get
with
done.
The Barry Mackerel Show. But
time for the women's high dive floor show.
Polls are closing now on the East Coast. Paul, we've enlisted state-of-the-art technology here this evening to bring coverage to the folks of Somerville. We have, as you can see here, a cable-ready television to my right. We'll be watching that television tonight, Paul, to bring the election results to our viewers.
That's right. Of course, we do represent the state-of-the-art of technology here in Somerville, cable access television. And we have the most sophisticated tools available, we believe, anywhere in the nation for bringing to you the results of the election.
That's right, Paul. You don't get two more state-of-the-art than television. Hold this.
Well, that's my son, Paul. I don't know what he's doing. Oh, my God. Oh.
Paul, what's going on?
You got to get him off the set. I can't believe he did this again.
Mr. Leonard, what?
Experience in this field. I've been wanting a break, a big break to my son.
Well, Al, we understand that. I mean, we all start out someplace, but I mean, I'm not sure you had to resort to violence. Paul, are you okay?
I am so sick of this.
Are you shaken up?
You know, he does this all the time. You know, he's constantly been trying to upstage me my whole life. And now it's come to this.
Al, what's the meaning of this, anyways?
When I tried this thing on the Letterman show, he got mad at that one, too. The kid's no good. He's no good. He doesn't.
Paul, you know, I don't know what to think here. I mean, this is just...
It's just been this constant sort of reverse Oedipus thing going on. I just
really?
can't.
So you're saying, so this is your father?
Yeah, unfortunately. Dad, I think you're going to have to get off the set there. They're expecting you back at the Shady Rest.
Well, thanks, Al. Thanks. Some testing tonight. It is the last show before the millennium. So consequently, it is necessary for us to do some testing.
Yeah, these are simple Y2K compliance tests that the studio asked us to do.
All dictated by the FCC. We don't have a lot of control over this. However, there really shouldn't be anything to disturb the audience, and there really shouldn't be anything that you'll actually notice on the show tonight.
No,
So it should go off very smoothly. It's our contribution to television to do this kind of...
No, our technicians have everything in hand, and there's really nothing to worry about.
Right.
So just rest assured that this television studio, as well as hopefully the rest of Somerville, will be Y2K
I'm sure that there
compliant.
won't be any issues, and fact is, I'm sure that we're just as ready for...
Hang on a second.
Just as ready for the
Barry,
millennium as you are.
We've got a problem here.
I don't know what you're
Houston,
talking about, Paulie.
Come in.
I don't know what you're talking about, Paulie.
All right, we've got a problem
fine.
here.
Just fine.
We need some
Sure it's-
emergency lights here.
sure-
Can someone help us out?
I'm sure if there's a problem with the
okay,
test,
all right.
I'm sure it's something that's being experienced
the
by the
emergency-
entire world.
Good,
It
good.
has nothing to do with
Probably
our
so.
technical capabilities.
Probably
here.
not, but the emergency system is kicked in here, so
All right.
we're back on the
I
air.
think we're ready to go.
Yeah.
we
Can
do.
Can we get the studio lights back on as soon as possible?
I think we're all set, Paulie.
All right.
Okay, watch your hands there, Richard. Watch the hands there. Okay.
All right,
until-
please, everyone.
Okay. I
Everyone
think
just
we're
calm
back
down
in full
now.
compliance.
So that was Barry Mackerel over the years, and the Barry Mackerel show is always took the kind of Carson talk show type of format with the intros like that, followed up with various performers. But in the next edit, I wanted to show some of the history of live musical performances that have been shown on the Dead Air Live show. And that's exactly what I went to do. And I went back, and this edit will include a number of different people who have been on the show. It'll include Tracy Chapman when she was on the show right here in the studio. It will include the story, and it's just about to start, so don't go away. This is good music.
There is a town around old Boston Bay, a place where time and life stand still. Just follow your nose and heart, and soon your feet will find themselves in Somerville. The city center there is filled with streets. A sub shop graces every hill. You might think you're dreaming, and again you might not. Anyway, you're in Somerville. Come watch the buildings stand up proud and tall, while far below the pavement hugs the ground. At night, the stoplights change their hue from red to green. Then they change back from green to red. A carnival of color here in Somerville.
I remember well when I was but a child of tender years, the day that I discovered the catalog from Sears. The people in the pictures, they made me stop and stare. Who'd have guessed that they'd be dressed in thermal underwear? Underwear, long underwear. It makes the foulest weather feel like fair. It's 10 below and icy winds blow whistling through the air. Let it storm, I'm toasty warm inside my underwear.
Don't you know, talking about a revolution sounds this way. Poor people gonna rise up and get their share. Poor people gonna rise up, take what's theirs. Don't you know you better run, 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 run. Oh, I said you better run, 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 run. 'Cause finally the tables are starting to turn. Talking about a revolution. Yes, finally the tables are starting to turn. Talking about a revolution, oh, no. Talking about a revolution, oh, while they're standing in the welfare lines, crying at the doorsteps of those armies of salvation, wasting time in the unemployment lines, sitting around waiting for a promotion. Don't you know, talking about a revolution sounds whisper. And finally the tables are starting to turn. Talking about a revolution. Yes, finally the tables are starting to turn. Talking about a revolution, oh, no. Talking about a revolution, oh, no. Talking about a revolution, oh, no.
It's this key to a motel room, separates me from the men walking up and down the street in this lonesome town in New Mexico. It's this key to a motel room, identifies me when the cop checks me out for vagrancy and throws his considerable weight around. And it's what you've lost that makes you what you are. It ain't what you got, it ain't what you got. And it's what you've lost that makes you what you are. It ain't what you got, it ain't what you got. Everybody, what's that shouting? What's that shouting all about? It's just more bad news, just another preacher, just another lost cause crying out, crying out. 'Cause I have taken what I was given, I did what any other man would do. Whenever asked too many questions, that was never good enough for you. You see, you want justice, freedom, stand up for what's fair is fair, and there are just too many people never asked for another man's troubles. Lord knows I got enough of my own. If your heart bleeds for every sad song, well then your life is just an open wound. So you want justice, freedom, stand up for what's fair is fair, and there are just too many people without a prayer.
Your friend is cared for promptly now, but you must travel further to another saving grace that takes your kind. This journey marks a step that no one knew was irreversible. Say there is forgiveness, and they say you'll never dance again. This is grace and gravity. Grace and gravity. Don't know where you're going. Grace
a kiss, won't you try? It breaks my heart to I'm sorry, Thank you. Thank you. That blew my gal away. I've had the blues all day since early morn. Oh, you came a-whispering through the trees. When I woke up this morning, she was gone. Oh, sweet evening breeze. Took her from my side. She was my blushing bride. Now hear my plea. Please hear me begging upon my knees. Send her back, sweet evening breeze, and blow my baby back to me. Breeze that blew my gal away. I've had the blues all day since early morn. You came a-whispering through the trees. When I woke up this morning, she was gone. Oh, sweet evening breeze. You took her from my side. She was my blushing bride. Now hear my plea.